I guess I'll take it away. And we're back after a hiatus of a couple of months. And we've got a lot of cool business updates on both ends for people for both of you who are watching. And but just obviously, congratulations to Brian. It's part of a big part of our hiatus is he's a father officially. How's that?
Yay. It's good. If you had asked me that a month ago, I would have been like, ah. But we're 2 months, a little over 2 months in now, and started to settle into it and figure it out, and got out of the initial infant first time parents, and we don't know how to do this, and he doesn't know how to be a baby yet, and like we finally got out of that where he's settling into a routine, and we've started to really learn what every whine and different cry and different movement means, and start to predict what he's going to need in advance. And we're only literally like barely over 2 months. We're like at 9 weeks right now, and he's sleeping 6 hours every night at the
That's
moment.
great. Yeah.
He's going like 10 to like 4. And so if we can figure out how to go to sleep at 10 when he does, we get 6 hours. It's hard to figure out how to go to sleep at 10.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sorry to
Yeah.
say, folks, that this podcast was not the priority. That's like worrying about your shoelaces being untied while your head's on fire. Right? It's like we
Yeah,
got
this
we got bigger fish to fry.
if there was one thing, basically what happened is something had to give while I figured out the first time parent thing. And of all the things that could give, I couldn't give up my events that I do, that I make a living doing, and I couldn't give up, some of that stuff. And so yeah, this had to give for a little bit, but
We're
here we
back
are. We're back.
for now. Then we'll
Yeah,
go on
for
our
now.
holiday hiatus. No,
Yeah, that's right.
we'll
That's
see.
right.
We'll see. Hopefully, we'll keep it going a little more steady after this. We were pretty good. I don't think we ever missed any before this little break,
No,
but
no,
we'll
we
be
we
good.
never did.
But anyway, for people who are waiting on to the next project. So
Indeed.
do you want to start?
Oh my gosh. So many new projects. Sure. The big one that absolutely has to get off of my plate, that's weighing me down. When you have a project that should have been finished months ago and you just didn't, and I see your face right now.
Do I ever?
I know it's brutal. So in May, I filmed this podcasting course, and we've talked about it here before. Podcasting for Professionals. And it's meant to be this kind of high ticket, serious. If you are a professional, not a professional podcaster, but if you're a professional and you want to have a podcast as part of your business, that's what this course is for. It's like 10 hours of really in-depth audio content, as well as the mindset and the art of podcasting and outreach, guests, all that kind of stuff. So I filmed back in May for 2 straight 8-hour days, and actually 3 straight 8-hour days, I think it was. It was a brutal weekend, and I filmed like 85% of the course. And I figured, well, the other 15% I'll finish before my son is born in September, and it'll be up. And I just didn't. I got the 85% that I had filmed, edited. It was 60 videos or something. It basically uploaded, and I never got around to finishing the last 15%. Random videos here and there. There's like 15 videos missing randomly throughout the course. But I wanted to get the course out there, and I thought I'm going to do what I always do, which is I'm going to sell the thing, and that'll force me to finish it. So I went into a beta, told my audience I'm going into beta. Anybody who wants in is going to get it for a fifth of the price it's going to be when it actually launches in January. It's like 80% off, right? Because it's missing some stuff. Go through, tell me what you think. If there's anything else that I'm missing, blah, right? And you get this price for life. And I thought that would light the fire under me now that I have people paying in the beta to actually go finish the course. So it's been a couple of months since I had people pay, and they're in and they're enjoying what's in there, but it's not complete. And in the few months, I think I've only done 2 more videos. And I'm now going on 6 months since I actually filmed this course. My hair has been 3 different lengths. I've changed outfits. My background has changed. And it's getting to be this hodgepodge, which is frustrating me. So later this week, this coming weekend, in about a week, I'm committing to finishing filming in one final massive 8 or 10 hour day, filming all the rest of the lessons. And then I can edit them, and I promised everybody the course would be out in January, and I think I'll still make it, but I'm just frustrated with myself for it becoming more of a hodgepodge than I originally intended, especially with 85% of the course was filmed in 2 days with the same lighting, the same background, the same shirt, the same setup. And then the other random lessons throughout it that I missed are just all over. COVID hair when it was 3 months longer, and then back to cutting, short again now that I went outside and got it cut. I don't know. So
No,
that's podcasting for professionals. That's where that is.
that's great. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you got it up and going, and it's
Yeah.
definitely there for people, who are using it and getting some value out of it. And that's why, it's in a way, think of it like a semester. Like you don't get all your information for the semester up front. It's
Yeah.
just over time. People have to get through it anyway, and it's all going to be there. So it's all working out.
And all the people who are in the beta at this super, super low price, they have access for life. I mean, it's never going to be extra for them. Once all the rest of the stuff's in there, they'll get it. So I don't feel too bad about it. But once people are in there and paying, I feel an obligation to finish it, and it just isn't finished on the time I would have liked. But I will have it finished, and it will be officially on sale in January. And I'm sure we'll revisit it at that point here on this once it's actually out there. So that's that project. And the main reason I'm feeling the weight of getting it out of the way is because my next massive professional project, and when I say professional project, I mean relating to my career, my main career as a human connection specialist. I've already started it, and it is the biggest project by far I've ever done in my career, in my life. It's a huge undertaking that's getting bigger and more behemoth by the day, but also more exciting. And so I need to get this course out of the way, so it's just done and on sale, so it's out of my life, so I can fully focus on this new project that I'm working on.
That's awesome, man. That's remarkable. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, or not yet? Too
Yeah,
early?
we
Tease
can
it.
do maybe, yeah, we'll tease it. We'll do a look because it's early in a sense. It's not early in a different sense. So essentially, this is kind of codenamed the Pivot Project. The Pivot
Mm.
Project. And what this is this year obviously it was insane for everybody, the whole world over. But especially if you are a freelancer, an artist, a small business owner, even a big business owner, a CEO of a company, to be honest. What happened this year is that so many industries, as you and I have talked about throughout this year on this podcast and other places, just got 90% of every industry kind of got wiped out. It like wiped out everybody except for like the 10% who were already succeeding the most, essentially. And it's been really devastating. But within all that devastation has been this unbelievable creativity and resilience and quick thinking and forward thinking among people all the way from just a local artist all the way up to CEOs of nonprofits and teachers and everybody in between. And I started to, have these conversations all year with these people. And I was thinking so much about the pivot. Like that's what this year felt like, the year of the pivot. Everybody had to adapt and find some. And so what I decided to do is originally the idea was I'm going to write a book. I want to quickly write a book. My first book took me 3 years to write. I've been working on my second book for 2 years. I had to pause that second book and I decided I'm going to write a book in 6 months. It's going to be out in 6 months from the time I start doing this. 6 months, 8 months, something like that, something really quick. And the idea of the book was I wanted to interview dozens, maybe 40, maybe 50 small business owners, freelancers, entrepreneurs, artists who have had to make a monumental shift this year in order to either keep their existing business alive or continue their mission in a new format. Because those are really the two major pivots that were made this year is either in order to keep your business as it has always been, you had to change completely the way you do it, or in order to keep the mission of your business, which is now not able to continue, you had to go into some new business to continue pursuing that mission. Those are the two kind of big pivots that were made this year. And so I started interviewing people that I'd heard of. Many of these people I had never really met before, but I'd heard of them. I knew of them through other people, through mutual contacts. Said, "Hey, can we jump on for 30 minutes? I want to talk to you. I want to maybe feature you in this book." And what it's turning into is a multimedia project. The Pivot Project is going to be a video podcast, which will live on my YouTube channel, maybe a new YouTube channel. We'll discuss that. I'm sure you'll have opinions on that, but probably my channel. The audio version of the podcast will, of course, live on my podcast as a special themed season of Beyond Networking. It will be a blog as well, of course, for search engine, and all that jazz. And it will be a book. And the goal of the book in particular is to highlight all of these stories of all of these amazing people who had to make these monumental shifts and pull out the core lessons that they used, what they did to survive, and in some cases really thrive and succeed in the midst of what is absolutely the most difficult year to be in business that anyone will have ever seen in our lifetime and will probably ever see again in our lifetime. So yeah, the book is designed to be a blueprint for future artists, freelancers, entrepreneurs, to develop the tools of resilience and creativity and forward thinking. And my story of my pivot this year will simply be the narrative thread that ties the book together. But the book is not about me; it's about these dozens of people and organizations that did really incredible things against all odds this year. So it started out as a book and turned into this multimedia massive project.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've recorded 3 or 4 interviews for it, and I have many, many more lined up, and it's going to be crazy.
No, that's amazing. I remember when you were telling me about the idea, I thought it was brilliant. I know at least one of the guests that's on there, and I know it's a really cool story, and people are going to be excited to see it and see more. So it's definitely
Yeah.
something for people to look forward to.
Yeah, no, thanks. And you've been really helpful kind of behind the scenes and teasing out some of the ideas. And I'm sure you will continue to be, as well as the referral to the mutual connection you made with, somebody I just interviewed the other day who was, I think she's going to be one of the standout stories. Honestly, it's such a cool story.
I'm so glad to hear that, and I'm more excited to see that interview now because that's pretty cool because it was an amazing story.
Yeah.
Yeah, people if they've seen things on my YouTube channel, you'll see the puppets during a pandemic video that I did, which was kind of Brian saw that too. I was like, I got to talk to this person too. So if you want a
Yeah.
sneak peek, you'll get maybe a brief idea of what's going on there. But
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
awesome, man. No, I'm so excited. So then you said 6 to 8 months. So when would in a perfect world, when would it launch then?
Well, so in a perfect world, the book would be out by next summer, like June or something at the latest, because it's so relevant right now. And I want it, and unfortunately, I think that it will be relevant next summer. I think we're not going to be out of this storm that we're all in right now, with the pandemic, and so I think it'll still be relevant. But I want to make sure it comes out while it's relevant, and the timeline is really dependent on whether I go whether I get a book deal with a major publisher or decide to go the hybrid self-publishing route again. I have talked to industry insiders in the book industry and people in the know, and there's some really good chance I can manage to get a proper book deal with a big publisher. The thing is, that would be great because there's national distribution, marketing pushes, all that good jazz. The problem is major publishers take 2+ years to get books out. They can get a book out in 6 months if they think it's really important right now that it's on the shelves. They can do it. I want to make sure it's out in the middle of all this so it stays relevant. So if a book publisher was willing to offer me a deal but was not willing to get it out in 6 months and it was going to be a standard 2-year thing, I think I'd go do it on my own. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
It is hard to say because it's hard to pass up that kind of opportunity too. But
Yeah.
but you know what? That's the type of thing where you just keep hammering your project, and when that decision comes, then you have to make a decision.
And one of the things that maybe next week or the week after that, as we get back into doing onto the next project episodes, is we can get back to some of what this show was originally about, which was we actually worked out ideas and helped each other in real time and just gave people a window. Maybe you can help me work out some of the ways forward with this project, because I was thinking, oh, this might be the first time I've ever had a project that deserves a Kickstarter, people to invest in advance to get interested in it. A high enough tier might get you or someone an interview as part of the project. Different things. I don't know. I don't know if this is the kind of project that deserves like a community groundswell from the beginning. So I'm not sure. So
Yeah, no, that's an interesting idea. At bare minimum, even if there's not a funding aspect to it, like a crowd funding, at bare minimum, even just like a social media storytelling of the journey, just to get people behind it,
yeah,
uh, even if it's not in a financial way, which there's um, advantages to both, I think,
sure.
because at some point, if someone's following it that closely, they're gonna be buying the book, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, they are financially computing in that way. But then again, you're right. With the other one, they're just kind of just pre-buying the book then anyway, right? Because I'm sure almost
Right.
any tier would have them
Right.
get a copy of the book. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
things to think about.
yeah. I like the idea of um, one of the things I like about the crowdsourcing idea is not for getting the money up front itself, but having, if enough people buy in advance, they basically buy into a Kickstarter, then you can actually go to a book publisher and say, like, look at 1,000 people already bought into this. Like, there's clearly a market for this. That would be a lot of leverage going to a publisher. So
Hmm.
different ways to approach it, but you're doing a million things. What
Yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing a
You're
lot.
not getting less busy.
No, I'm not at all. We just launched a week ago. Another, because I'm sure people who have watched our other videos watched my journey with Camp Puppet. Watching that kind of happen live during this whole summer when we were documenting this experience. And immediately, the day after launching Camp Puppet, I had an overwhelming amount of people inquire about workshops for. Well, they said, "Can you do a camp for adults?" I'm like, "Oh my god, if I." It's not going to be called a camp. I'm not doing like adult camp. I'm like, there's nothing about this that makes it marketable, appealing sounding. No, so I'll do workshops for adults, and immediately after, about a week or two after Camp Puppet went live, I talked with a puppet supply distributor that I'm friends with, Lori over at Puppet Pelts, and said, "Hey, we got something here." And I said, "No, I got something here, and I want to do it for adults." But the hardest thing with Camp Puppet was me making all those kits, so I wanted to team up with someone to supply that end of it, especially because this kit is much more involved. It's for adults. And actually, I still had a lot of people inquire saying like, "Oh, my kid's only 14, but can he do it?" and things like that. And we limited it, and mainly because of the supplies too. There's more professional supplies. We have razor blades in there for cutting foam, which is not something I just want to mail to kids, right? The contact cement we use rather than the hot glue is a more professional material that has some fumes and stuff. So for those reasons alone, it was limited by age, and also just we there's just different other reasons as well. But this is our workshop for adults. The same type of thing. It's a 5-day course, 2 hours a day. And you're going to be, but the whole thing is a build. For the kid one, the first day was a build, and the rest of it was like puppetry lessons, right? This is an advanced puppet build. I take you from the journey from beginning to end, everything from laying out your pattern pieces and even taking your pattern and making something that'll last longer and to keep using to making puppets, to having the finishing touches on your completed puppet with legs, which is the big thing people love, puppets with legs. I hate puppets with legs, but give the people what they want. And yeah, it's
Wait,
called,
why do you hate puppets with legs?
because I do more television style puppetry where it's over the
Yeah,
head and the legs just get in the way and it's extra weight. There's no need for them. Arlo does not have legs, my Arlo puppet.
right.
And you never need them. But I don't know. People just want legs. People like legs. But what was I going to say? So yeah, this is called the Puppet Makers Workshop. PuppetMakersWorkshop.com is where people went to sign up, and we launched it last Saturday, and yesterday we sold out. So we sold out in a week, which was
Wow.
which
I
was
I
amazing.
I can't. It's what a success. I mean, you didn't know the first time around with Camp Puppet if that was going to work. The first session sold out in a day. The second one sold out in a day later.
Yeah.
And I now this time to me you were understandably more nervous about this one because for adults it's a very very different ball game than like a summer camp for kids. Parents want to do something.
Yeah.
This is something that adults have to decide to spend their own money on for themselves as
Mhm.
something extraneous. And so I would have been understandably, a little bit more nervous about this one, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
crushed.
actually, I want to talk about some of the other things that made me nervous about it as well, because you bring up a good point. There's difference between, making something available for everything in my YouTube channel. Nothing's for kids, as far as I'm concerned. Nothing is for kids. It's all geared toward professionals who want to build puppets, and it's anything that people would think is for kids. I gear it at the parents. This is something you can do with your kid. This is an opportunity for your kid, and that's an easier sell to give their kid an experience, to let their kid learn a skill. The harder sell, where I thought it was going to be with adults, is that in a way, adults can teach themselves, right? And we've talked about this before. There's nothing that they can't already learn that I'm going to teach them that's not already on my YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, oh yeah,
So the
I'm
information's
actually
there.
yeah, I'm actually making a video for my channel as we speak about that exactly. Why would you ever pay for information in the world that we live in where information is free and unlimited? And it turns out there's actually 4 really good reasons why you might still pay for information. But yeah, go
I
ahead.
can't wait to check out that video. Yeah. But that's a big reason too. Thinking, about the access to information. Um, so that was a big factor, and also the price. This one is a lot more. Camp Puppet was $325 per student, and this one we had at 850. But if you signed up before November 28th, it was um 725, which every single person did sign up or for the early, which is great that they were able to get that type of savings. But it is I'm not I'm not it's a lot of money, but then again, we have a lot of expense. I'm not making any more than I did personally for Camp Puppet. uh it's just, again, there's bigger boxes, there's more materials in it. It really is just a whole different ball game. And people, um I actually had someone, I wish they said, "Oh, I wish there was a, more affordable option." It's like, this is really kind of as affordable as we could make it. If you want the affordable option, that's the YouTube channel, right?
Well, that right there. I got that comment on. I've used the word budget in many of my audio gear review videos, and I'll say this is a great budget microphone. I'll be reviewing like $100 microphone and go, man, for $100, this thing is killer. And I have occasionally people comment, oh, that's not really a budget. I mean, a budget microphone's like $15, and I'm like, no, $15 is a toy. Just use your phone. Why would you spend $15 on a mic? No, $100 for a professional grade XLR microphone that sounds as good as this does is a budget. That is a steal, right? But
Yeah.
it's relative. It doesn't mean it's not a lot of money to you, but it's a budget microphone relative to microphones, right?
Yeah.
That's what this is for you. Like it may be a huge amount. I mean, $700, a lot of money. $800, a lot of money to anybody. I don't care if you're a millionaire. It's a lot of money, right? Like in that moment, it's a lot of money. But it's a bargain for what you're giving them.
Yeah, and I like to think so, because it's the limited class size to just 16 people. It gives people more one-on-one attention. They can ask questions back to me, which they can't really do as easily in a YouTube video. If they leave a comment, maybe I'll see it, and then maybe I'll respond a couple weeks later, right? But they get
Right.
live interaction. If they're having a problem or something they don't understand, I'm right there, and that's what the time is for, you know. And unfortunately, I just can't do that for everyone always, because I have my family. I've got a job, a day job, and so this is the way for people who want. I even said it in the video, like, who is this for? because I don't remember if I specifically said this, or at least I implied it. Like, you can there's information on my channel on how to make puppets, but if you're someone who's been hesitant to tackle this project alone, I'm there to walk you through it. Because another thing is too, buying these supplies are that's why the kit's so expensive too, because these supplies are very expensive. So I understand people saying, you know what, if I'm going to spend a couple $100 on fabric and foam and stuff to make a puppet anyway, I don't want a chance of messing it up, right?
Right.
If I spend a little more and then I can do it with Adam, oh, there's a good chance I won't make a mistake, because he's going to be
Right.
right there catch any mistakes that I have along the way. So I think that's where the value was. And again, saying that I sold out in a week. One side, yeah, that's great and that's impressive, but is it though? It was only 16 spots. It's 16 spots. But so I'm very humbled about that aspect too. Like, if I was selling 100 of them, how many would I have sold? Maybe probably the same, and that's far from selling out, right? But yeah, but that we also did have a lot of people who wanted to sign up and couldn't for it was a goofy timing that we're doing it. The first day of the class is the day after Christmas,
Mm.
you know, and then so it's that timeline. We wanted to be within a break, and also it was only limited to the U.S. I've had tons of people beg
Yeah.
to
Right.
be let in outside of the U.S., but we were really worried for this round, because we kind of, by the time we were in a position to launch to when we had to have the class, we're worried about hitting the shipping deadlines, and then you can't. It's hard to have a class when they don't have the kit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you don't want to get in the situation where you shipped it, it gets held up at some international border with COVID and everything, and then they're going, "I don't have it. I want my money back." And you're going, "Well, we sent it to you. We can't give you your money back." Like we
yeah,
sent the stuff already. You don't want to get in that situation. So I
yeah,
get that.
yeah, yeah. And again,
But
even if
congratulations on
something, yeah.
selling it out though, and I
No,
mean,
it's great.
I mean
No, it's just, and more so
that's huge. 16 people to buy into a live workshop at that price for something as niche as your area. That's huge.
no, it's I'm very grateful for it, and we've got big plans, and to offer this. Again, people have been messaging me. There's a demand for it. People want it, and there's going to be, each box will be a new pattern. This one, again, in this beta project of doing this one, we did use an existing pattern that I have on my website, but I imagine all future ones for Puppet Makers Workshop, at least, will be original patterns at that point. And actually, a little sneak peek, this might be next year for the next holiday season, but I think I want to do a little penguin guy like this. I
That's
got the
so cute.
I was just digitally tracing the pattern the other day, because I was gonna say, "Oh, let's do that this round," and she's like, "You know what? Stick to what you know. Like, we got
Yeah,
this
yeah.
other
Yeah.
one ready. Let's just do this for the beta project." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right." So,
But
but
by the way, when you stood up, I realized that you're wearing gray pants and a black shirt, and I don't know. We did the same thing today.
we've got style. We've got style. What can I say?
Oh man, too
But
funny. So,
yeah, so
yeah.
that was a great project to get off the ground. It's officially sold. She's building the kits now,
Wow.
and we'll have another fun chat in a couple weeks after, in the new year, after that's done, letting you know how that went. Which I'm sure, if it goes half as good as Camp Puppet went, it'll go great. So
That's great. Yeah. So many things.
yeah,
Not I don't know. This whole on to the next I feel like I instead of going on to the next project over and over again, I just keep piling more projects on top of the ones I already have, which is not sustainable, especially with you always texting me like, "Did you see the new feature of Instagram? Did you see the new this? Did you see
yeah.
the new that?" And by the way, guides, yeah, they're good. They're good on Instagram, but I don't need another thing to do.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't.
Yeah, no, that's why we called it, Brian. We called it on to the next project, not finish a project then go on to the next project, right? It was
Yeah.
too long of a
Yeah.
title. It was already taken,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
No,
that's
but
yeah, somebody already had finish and then on to the next project.org.
yeah, it's funny, if you don't mind, maybe we just take a quick second just talking about guides, just because I think it's I was really excited the second I saw it, and then when I started playing with it, it was different than I thought. it was going to be, but still, I still saw a lot of value in it. And I know when I told you about it, you were a little hesitant at first, probably because I didn't probably do the best pitch for it
Well, you
necessarily.
said it was like blogging on Instagram, and I was like, well, I have
Yes.
a blog.
Yes. I still think that that's probably the best way to describe it is blogging on Instagram. Although I sent it to my friend too, and he's like, yeah, it is. He's like, but I can't like it. I can't like it. And
I
I was
can't
like,
like it. It doesn't it doesn't show up in the feed. It's not easily shareable at the moment. I'm not sure who it's for.
yeah.
I'm not sure how to use it for my audience. Like I made my first one, and I made a really nice themed one with all, basically it was like I took all the clips from the third season of Beyond Networking, the most recent season of my podcast, all the clips with people talking about how to connect with someone, how to connect with anyone, and I built those into a, you know, blog guide thing. And it's nice. It looks nice. I don't think anybody saw it.
Yeah.
Who's seeing it? How are they seeing it? How would they even know?
They don't know. They don't know yet. That's because
Yeah.
it's like a new thing. Again, I think it's going to change. I mean, there's essentially what's happening is TikTok's going to turn into Instagram, and Instagram's turning into something new since TikTok is trying to push it out of its way. Essentially, it's got to be something new. And the way that I see it is that now your normal feed, your normal posts are essentially going to somewhat act as almost like thumbnails, right? For the content, which is going to be that. It's like scrolling through someone's YouTube channel, looking at all these thumbnails. Oh, let me click on this video and see, right? And then the thumbnail's enticing enough to you to get the whole story, right? And that's what I think Instagram. I know it's a little bit different than that, but I think that's in the long run, that's what it's gonna be. Like if someone's a baker, they post all their, all the process, all this, and then they can get the whole thing in like a blog form if they like that final cake and how it looks. Let me find out how he did it. It's all organized there, and especially I'm excited. For some reason, we don't have it on the Puppeteers podcast Instagram yet, but when it's there, I mean, we have so many posts per guest. It can all be organized by guest. We can organize and do another one by season and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it for the organization, especially if you have a podcast like like we both do on Instagram. I've gotten to the point though, I'm always the one that pushes back on the social media stuff because I find social media generally a waste of time as a business, which can be maybe a longer conversation for a different time. There's totally a good reason to use it. And I'm not talking about people who make their living by Instagramming, right? That's obviously a business model. I'm talking about you have a business and you're using social media for your business. I find almost all social media, I'm guessing if I deleted all but my LinkedIn account tomorrow, nothing about my business would have changed a year from now. And which is why it's so hard for me to keep investing all the time it takes to be on Instagram, to be on Facebook, to be on, Twitter, and to learn the new features as they come out and to leverage the new features as they come out. And every time the app auto updates with a new goddamn interface and I can't find anything anymore. And I'm just like, I don't even want to use this in the first place. Why am I spending an hour? Because someone else forced me to have a new layout. Especially, I'm pissed at Instagram, and you probably saw that I posted about this a few weeks ago when Instagram rolled out their new user interface. They deliberately moved the button, the heart where you click to see who's liked your recent post. They moved it to the top right, and in its place, exactly at the exact same pixels where that used to be, they put the shopping button.
Yep, I've clicked it.
You know what? You know what? I almost deleted my Instagram. Not that Instagram would have cared, but it pissed me off. It was to me, that was such a
slimy.
It was slimy. Yeah, it felt really sleazy, and it felt like it was like they broke my trust completely in that platform. I was like, that I don't like that was done on purpose, and I don't approve of that at all.
Yeah, that was definitely dirty. I noticed that too, but I didn't put it into words. It's just meddling in the back of my mind. But one thing I would, again, I think you're right, this is more of a conversation for another day, but one thing I will just say too is just like, I mean, what I just did with this Puppet Makers Workshop was completely on social media. Everything I've done is just social media. I haven't paid for one ad for anything. I didn't even build a website for it of its own thing. It's completely social media driven, and every aspect of my quote unquote business is that. And I'm not, and I don't think I'd be in the same category as being like the influencer that you mentioned before. Or would you put me in that?
Well, I would now. It's not something you deliberately did, but I certainly would now. And my point would be that you've discovered these business opportunities because you had an audience on social media already. So my point is that the business you were running before you had a social media audience, you never would have thought to have a camp like this because there was no way you would have been able to find, or a workshop or whatever else you're doing. You wouldn't have been able to find those people. You would have had to pay for it. And that felt like a business. But you're like, well, I've already got this audience. Maybe there's something I can do for them because they're already here. So you built it organically, and you are now, part of your business is a social media business because of that. What I'm saying is, I don't, you would think that I would need an audience for my business, but I don't. I need 20 or 30 people a year anywhere in the world with, or at organizations or at institutions, at colleges, who have their audience and they want me to come into their audience. I only need 20 or 30 people a year, and I'm connected with tens of thousands of people. I have more than enough for a lifetime if I play my cards right, right?
Mm.
So um, now, if I want to sell a book that's going out to mass distribution next year, maybe I do need an audience, right? Maybe then all of a sudden next year with the Pivot Project, my social media becomes much more important, and the new guides feed, and I need to start paying attention to new features on social. Okay, because then I'm playing a different game. But I would say many businesses, if not most businesses, um, who do not simply sell widgets on an online store, right? If you sell widgets on an online store, use social media. You have to.
Mm.
But if you don't, if you're a service, if you're a high priced business, and a luxury business, uh, you don't you don't need social, or you just need one, right? If you're a local lawn mowing company, you need one. You need Facebook probably, right? Because that you go in the community groups and you get your name out there and you're fine. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know. I
we should have
still,
that
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that idea yet. But yeah, we could talk about it more. But I guess the last point I'll just make on it is just as a starting point, maybe for next time, is just like crowds attract more people, and the more people you have, the more people. Like if I'm walking down the street and there's an apple on the floor, I'm just gonna keep walking by. If there's 10 people standing around staring at this apple, I might walk by like, what's everyone looking at? Right, and you just
Mhm.
go, and that's kind of like how social media works, and it's that snowball effect. The more you have, the more you get, and that's an effect with many things, especially in finances. But
I
yeah.
agree with you, that's how it works, and I think what I'm saying is that for most people, it's not helpful, that it doesn't actually get you, for many businesses, it doesn't actually get you anywhere, or it's much more likely to waste your time than you ever get to the point where it's helpful, right? I
Mm,
think that's really what I'm saying, is that you're much more likely to waste your time that you could be investing in real business principles that have stood the test of time than actually getting to the point where you have what you have now, which you
mm,
never tried to, and that's part of how you got there, right?
mm.
So I guess that's you used it because it was fun, and
Yeah.
you built an audience along the way. And that is not how most people approach social media. Certainly not how I approach it. I don't find social media fun by and large. And so for me, it's a real struggle to keep up with all this stuff and be, oh, I gotta post. I haven't posted on Instagram lately. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. I like to be in front of the people I'm working for. When the client hires me and they put an audience in front of me, I want to work for them. It's where all my energy I want it to be. I get really tired of posting on social just because
Yeah.
I should be posting on social. That's kind
Yeah.
of what I'm saying.
No, no, I think you're right on that. And there is a whole, especially even with magicians. There's magicians that have to be on social media because that's how they get their hype. But like with the route that you are in, and I would say even a lot of those types of entertainers, you've said it yourself before. I've probably never even heard of those magicians that are making the most money right now on those circuits because
No, you haven't.
I don't know any of their names, even though I'm a,
Yeah.
a magician in the magic world.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a whole different ball game. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's for sure. Anyway, I think this was good. It was good to catch back up, and
Yeah.
we both have many things coming up that we will stay in touch with. Yeah, I think we should have that social media discussion on its own at some point, and let's keep up with both of our big new oncoming projects.
Yeah. Our children. Right.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Right. All right.
That's the real project.
It sure is. Well, on to the next project.
On to the next project.